spin no hardcore?
What's that?
You're not going to spin no hardcore.
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
You're not going to spin.
Welcome to my apartment. You're watching the show where I, Jeff Cannibal, interview some of your favorite wrestlers, all while they compete to win $5 whole. To do this, they'll have to eat 5 wings, increasing in heat, all while allowed only 1 beverage. But if they tap out to those 5 wings, they have to cut a promo on this guy, Felix, my 3-legged kitten. You're watching The Flaming Table. My guest this week is the Unpredictable JGeorge. How you doing today?
I'm good. I'm not doing this, by the way.
No, you have to do it now. You're already here. Interesting drink choice with the muscle.
Was it? Can I shout them out?
Yeah, go.
Sure. It's Rocket Refuel, the best protein drink on the market today.
And everybody says that I do too easy, so instead of having a liter of water, I'm going to have a cotton candy soda. So let's start with this wing here. This first one is Jamaican Gold Chili, made by Boogie Rag Joe, great fan of wrestling who makes me of all these. It also has raisins in it or something, I'm not really sure. But thank you, as always, Joe. So let's get into it, and then I'll ask you the question.
Alright. Are we going to mention how... sorry about that.
I'm doing it for you.
How are we going to mention... This is kind of monumental for me because I've never had vegan food at all.
Well, I've never mentioned that these are vegan, but...
I mean, I guess, what did you say when I first told you that? You're like, well, have you had lettuce with apple? Yeah.
Yeah, but... So welcome to Fake Meat. So, JGeorge, you're a kind of person, I've known you for a while, who has a lot of influences outside of wrestling.
Sure.
All sorts of entertainment things. You're already doing great, I'm sure. What are some of those influences, and how do you think they set you apart from other wrestlers who maybe kind of just study the other wrestling of the world? Which, nothing wrong with that either.
I mean, I don't think a lot of wrestlers have taken stuff from, different, forms of entertainment and stuff. For me, like, it's like, I don't know, it's weird. So, like, one of my biggest ones have been like Lady Gaga, right?
Okay.
Kanye West. I'm like shaking right now. Hold on. Yeah, so yeah, those were like probably in terms of like pop culture and stuff like that, and just like Andy Kaufman was also a big one.
Sure.
As I was getting into that, because I was also doing like stand-up comedy, and I like just try to model myself after him a lot, So I would say those 3 are probably like in terms of how they influence my wrestling character.
And then how do you think you actually bring it to the actual wrestling?
I try to, so I just, basically it's the attitude, you know what I mean?
Sure.
I just try to keep it true to myself the same way they do, and then also like the way they're able to, reinvent themselves, and just mostly just that, the whole idea of being out there and being different, being unique, and not letting that not being afraid to try something stupid like,
right.
Maybe one day I'll come to the ring wearing a trash bag.
I'd pay to see that as well, and I'm glad you're still eating, as you're already having a hard
time.
time.
It's just not bad. It's not that bad. I'm shaking, but it's not bad.
Okay. And before we started, what was the hottest thing you told me that you've had before this?
Flaming Hot Cheetos, which I thought was pretty hot, and then everybody just totally put that in the...
Do you think we passed that already?
What?
Flaming Hot Cheetos?
No, I think they were a little bit hotter.
Okay, so we did. Yeah, we've already surpassed that. You ready to go on to the next one?
What?
Great confidence. Our next one is Outer Limits Ghost Pepper and Roasted Garlic Sauce. It's probably my favorite tasting one. I feel like you're not going to care about that so much once we actually get into it. So, if you're ready, you are shaking. Wow. It's a first, I think. Pretty sure that's a first.
Let's do it.
So that's this one now. Move clockwise. How was it?
It's good. What's the next question?
So, it's hitting me now too, so I'm with you. You got to do some training in Mexico recently?
Like a year ago.
Close enough.
Yeah.
Thank you, though. How did that come about, and what did you take away from that? How'd that go for you?
I always loved, growing up as a Hispanic Latino male, I was always, you know, obviously very ingrained with that culture, and lucha libre being a big part of that. You know, it was always a dream of mine to go over there and train and stuff. And I have an aunt that lives there, and I'm not actually Mexican myself, so she just happened to move out there. Like, you know, she had a house out there, so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go out there. I'll stay out there. I made some contacts with Latin Dragon, and he hooked me up with some people. When I got there, all these people I had been talking to, they like took a while to answer. Sorry, they took a while to answer me, and I was like, you know what? I looked up online. I found CML just lets you literally just sign up for classes, so I did that. So I went to CMLL.
I'm already feeling some with you now.
The problem was I wasn't swallowing any of this. All right, so I went there, and I started training there. And it was an amazing experience. I loved it so much, and I did try some spicy food there, but it does not compare to the swing. But I love it, and I want to go back. I didn't get a chance to work a show there, but I did get to train in Arena Mexico, which is pretty cool because it's the oldest arena in the world, for the oldest promotion in the world. And it made my heart soar, and I want to go back.
Do you want to go back on this decision to come do this as well?
I'm enjoying it. I'm sorry, am I not eating enough?
No, that's enough.
Okay, good.
Are you ready to move on? Do you want to move on to the next one?
Yeah, can I sit on a gusset plate first?
No. I don't want to hurt my couch.
Can I get a nap or something? I'm like
Yeah.
shaking here.
Can you come zoom in on his shaking? Because that's incredible.
That's a dismissive, like,
That's
fuck you out.
That's crazy.
It's unpredictable.
It is unpredictable. The third one we're gonna get into, if you're still with me on this.
Did you see that Teddy Hart promo?
I did. We can talk about that later.
He's like, my knees are a little bit shaky right now. That's how I feel.
I'm glad you brought that in. Our next one, it's a Repercussion 7-pod Primo Face Fucker. That is the actual name of this one. And I will tell you this. This one hits the hardest, in my opinion. This is where I start having a hard time, as you'll see soon. Are you with me on this one?
I tried to coat my mouth with whatever that dairy drink is.
How's that working?
I don't know. Can't tell you.
So before you were unpredictable, you were Alaskan, and you were a Mayan warrior. Can we talk about that?
I think that's what made me unpredictable.
Well, I was going to say, and how did that lead into eventually becoming unpredictable?
No,
I'm not going to fuck with you too much, but you got to take at least one more bite of that one.
Yeah, I do. I originally wanted to be called the natural JGeorge. Logan Black takes one look at me, he goes, there's nothing natural about you. Now,
It's not very nice.
Logan Black came... Yeah, I don't know what he meant by that. I guess he meant I didn't have any natural God-given ability.
Oh, okay.
You gotta work for
Still
it.
not very nice.
Sure. Listen, so... he was trained by Johnny
Let's
Rods.
cut the horse shit.
My nickname was a rib on Johnny Rods. A Rods on Johnny Ribs. Johnny Rods. It was a rib on Johnny Rods.
I don't think you're all laughing at. You guys are all next.
And I had to live up to it, you know. So that meant doing weird stuff, and part of it was also trying to find out who I was as a performer. So you wear silly stuff because you think it's gonna get a reaction. So I wore that Eskimo hat in the middle of Bumblefuck, Virginia. But I also wrestled that night. I also wrestled a guy called the Black Russian, who came out to Bob Marley, and they wore these red and yellow masks. So like, come on, give me a break.
Right. And so what led from that to unpredictable?
Fuck, I was already unpredictable. So
Is that your way of saying you want to move on to the next one?
I was already there, so like, but I guess over time though, because like for a while I became like a Cuban nationalist character, because Because I did a college movie where I played Philip. I played Fidel Castro in this movie.
Obviously.
And, so I did that character, but I was always on the
Okay.
Q-Tip would be great right now.
Q-tip?
Yeah.
That I don't have.
We did.
Somebody has one in his frame.
Are you gonna do the next one with me? Alright. Our next wing is Torchbearer Sauce. It's the Rapture. I'm actually fucking right with you right now. So let's take a bite of that one. And I'll ask you the next question. Soda was a terrible idea.
Alright.
You ready?
Yeah. You ever see that episode? You ever see that episode of SpongeBob where, well, I think it was Squidward. He's gonna try a Krabby Patty for the first time.
Yes.
Yeah, she knows. You guys are all like, you guys are way too old to have known that, but it's alright. Oh, he takes a little bite, so now
Oh, we're gonna do this.
That's not even English.
Yeah.
Where are you going with this?
Did you even take a bite yet?
No.
I'm waiting for you to take a bite to ask the next question, but I did like you bringing SpongeBob into it.
Alright, I'm gonna do the Batista.
Hey, you got this. So,
That's the animal, man. Former world heavyweight champion. Can't mess around with that.
see, that's true. So you do a lot of traveling.
Yeah.
You wrestle all over. Whether you're training in Mexico,
Yeah.
wrestling in Canada, wrestling in Ohio, wherever. Can't just run by. And you also have this very out there character, as you know, based on all these Kanye Wests and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's right.
You gotta take a little bit more than that.
Yeah, no, yeah.
How do crowds in other parts of the country typically take to the Unpredictable JGeorge? As opposed to like New York, where they're kind of almost used to like the weirdness.
Well, for a while I was being too weird, man. I was coming out to this like Beatles song, and it was just like way too much, man. I don't know if you just probably saw before, but like I'm out there sometimes. You know what I mean? So, fuck, I just swallowed like the skin head on. Was that a good idea?
I don't know. Nothing is. Nothing about this is.
So, I think you wanted me to tell you a Rockstar story.
You can tell me whatever you want. That was what reminded me.
I did a couple matches at Rockstar Pro, and it was at the midst of me like really experimenting with my character and trying to really get into the groove of who I am. So I was always trying weird shit there, and I remember it was so weird. I was like, I would get frustrated because I was like, what do these people want? I have no idea what they want, because like they all look like Duck Dynasty, very backwoodsy people, and like you'd think these guys barely have a Wi-Fi connection, right? But they're like really smart fans, like smart, you know. So they go like, I remember one time, and that's when I realized it, when I was doing my entrance, and I was looking at this guy, and he goes, "Hey man, you're not a wrestler, you're an entertainer." So that's been my experiences. But lately now, I kind of toned into what I need to do.
Do you need to do this last week?
Do I have to? I guess I have to, right?
You don't have to.
I ran out of drink. Can I switch to water?
Nope. It's one drink.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Rib.
I told you that.
Alright, let's see this.
Yeah.
Oh.
The water's a 2 liter. Or it's a 1 liter.
Okay.
So do you want to do the last one?
Yeah.
I don't read.
You could drink the other one. You just lost.
I lost the game?
You lost $5.
Alright, whatever.
Oh, whatever.
Alright, here we go.
All right. You already know the last question. I warned you.
Yeah.
Let's bite the wing. You know how to recite all the WWE champions in order.
Yeah.
Take a bite of that. Make it as hard as possible.
Or is that the last one?
For him, yeah.
Oh god.
And then recite them. Ready to go. I oversauced mine.
I need into a sick bag. Oh god. Alright, Buddy Rogers was the first WWE. Bruno Sammartino beat him. He lost it to Ivan Koloff. Ivan Koloff loses the title to Pedro Morales. Pedro loses it to Stan Stasiak. Stan Stasiak loses it to Bruno. Bruno.
Look at the screen behind you. Oh my god, you're gonna throw up.
Bruno.
I'll put this one up next.
We just get it in the bag.
Bruno loses to Billy Graham. Billy Graham loses to Bob Backlund. Bob Backlund loses it to the Iron Sheik. He loses it to Hogan. Hogan loses it to Andre the Giant. They vacate the title. Macho Man wins the tournament. He loses it back to Hogan. Hogan loses it to Warrior. The Ultimate Warrior loses it to Sergeant Slaughter. No. Sergeant Slaughter loses it to Hogan. Hogan loses it to The Undertaker. Hogan gets it back. They vacate it. Ric Flair wins it. Ric Flair. Oh God. Ric Flair loses it to Macho Man. Macho Man beats Ric Flair for it. Ric Flair beats Macho Man. Bret Hart wins it. Yokozuna wins it. Hogan.
Yeah.
Oh fuck. Yokozuna again. Bret Hart. Diesel. No wait. Bret Hart. No. Yeah. Bret Hart. Bob Backlund. Diesel. Diesel loses it to Bret. Bret loses it to Shawn. Shawn loses it to Sid. Sid wins it back. Shawn wins it back. Shawn vacates it. Bret Hart wins it. Then Sid wins it. Loses it to The Undertaker. Undertaker loses it to Bret Hart. Bret Hart loses it to Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels loses it to Stone Cold. Stone Cold loses it to Kane. He gets it back. Kane, loses it to Stone Cold's champion. He loses it to Kane and Undertaker, but they vacate the title. The Rock wins the tournament, loses to Mankind. They trade off for a little bit. Then The Rock loses it to Austin at WrestleMania. Austin loses it to The Undertaker. Austin gets it back. He loses it to Foley. Foley loses it to Triple H. Triple H loses it to Vince McMahon. He gets it back. Then he loses it to The Big Show, but he gets that back. Then he loses it to The Rock. And then they trade off a little bit again. But then The Rock, he loses it to Kurt Angle, loses it back to The Rock. He loses it to Austin. Austin loses it to Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle loses it back to Austin. Austin loses it in that tournament where Jericho becomes a champion. Jericho loses it to Triple H. Triple H loses it to the Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan loses it to Undertaker. Taker loses it to The Rock. The Rock loses it to Brock. He loses it to The Big Show. Big Show loses it to Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle loses drops the title to Lesnar. They trade off. And then Kurt Angle, Lesnar loses it to Eddie. Eddie loses it to JBL. JBL loses it to Cena. Cena loses it to Edge. Edge loses that to Cena. Cena loses it to RVD. He loses it to Edge. Edge loses it back to Cena. Cena holds it for 380 days. Then he vacates the title because he's injured. So then the title gets awarded to Randy Orton, right? Orton then loses it to Triple H. And then that same night, he loses it back to Triple H. Or he takes it from Triple H. He's a champion now. Holds on to that for a bit, and then Cena comes back. They trade. Orton gets it. Triple H gets it. Triple H goes to SmackDown. He loses that to Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy loses it to Edge. Edge, I think, loses it back to Triple H. Orton gets it back. Batista, vacate the title. Cena's the champion again. He holds that. Wait, hold on. Now this is where it gets tricky because they start doing a lot of fucking chicanery. Oh, Cena loses it to Sheamus. Sheamus loses that back to Triple H. And then Randy Orton has it, right? Okay, Randy Orton loses it to The Miz. Miz has it, then he loses it to Cena. Cena loses it to CM Punk. Then they do that weird fucking double title, vacate the title. Rey Mysterio is the champion, Cena's the champion. Then they do the double thing. So then CM Punk wins it. He's the undisputed champion, but then he quickly loses it to Randy Orton. Should I take another bite? Because this is really hot.
You're doing too well.
Yeah, no, alright, so...
Take a nice big bite and then go.
Where are we? Randy Orton's the champion now? Because they just... No, not Randy Orton. Del Rio. go.
Keep going, keep going, keep going.
No. Shut up, dump.
I'll do
Oh,
it.
come on, give me a break. Oh.
You got this, dude.
Okay, Del Rio's the champion. He loses it to CM Punk. CM Punk holds it for 400 days. He loses it to The Rock. The Rock loses it to Cena. Alright. Cena's the champion. He loses the title to, who does he lose it to? This is, fuck, wait, hold on. I don't know, I think I might be done there.
That was more than I've ever heard you do, so I will give you credit for that one. And I respect you taking another bite to it.
Yeah.
This is what YouTube wants, people puking. Thank you very much for being on. You didn't win the game, so we're going to cut for a little bit. We're going to get our bearings back together.
Yeah.
And you're going to cut a promo on Felix the Cat as your punishment.
Sure. Alright.
So as we just saw, JGeorge lost. He did eat all the wings, but he broke the rules and had more than one beverage. So now he's going to cut a promo on Felix the Three-Legged Cat.
You know something? There are a lot of cats out there in the wrestling business that try to make a name for themselves. I'm talking about felines that go out there to the shows and help out. I'm talking about Mr. Money. I'm talking about Two Paws. But I'm looking at you, and you made me realize something tonight. I had to look deep inside my heart to realize, at the end of the day, that 3 legs, they're better than 2. And I only have 2 legs. But you're the cat. I will say the street. Is that good?
That's good. That works. I'm glad that you almost ate his treat too. So JGeorge, even though you lost, what do you have to plug? Where can people find you?
You can. I'm on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook at JGeorge, JGeorge489. It's JGORGE 489. And, you know, we've got some upcoming matches. Of course, we want to plug Dropkick Depression, right? November 14th. I'll be there.
I don't know when this is going to air. You don't have to get
Oh,
the
okay.
dates.
Well, all right.
Thank you, though.
Well, yeah, I was going to show the thing.
Oh, what?
I hope it's coming.
Spazzed out.
There you go.
This is falling apart.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing this with me. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, like, comment, do everything, all that stuff. It's easy. Just do it for me because it's free. And keep watching. Tell everybody. Thank you.